processing, I would do everything I could to protect them from that. Which, but then when it gets closer to being you're at risk for aiding and abetting and all those other things, it becomes a really interesting moral quandary. But
¿Aquí vive? Está bien grande esta casa.
Estate bien hoy.
Nico, thank you for helping today. I'm Marianne Barris.
Thanks for letting me come work here.
Have you explained the rules? Peter doesn't want anyone going into his office.
Yes, he won't be any trouble.
from anytime I want.
Hello.
What's
How are
up,
you, Jim?
fellas?
How's it going?
It's going well. It's going well.
Jim, is it? Nice to see you, Jim.
Yep, that's me. At least that's what I've been told. So, most of my life. So let's go with that. Good to see. Where are you guys at currently?
We are at the film's publicist's offices in Century City, California.
I think I've been there, so I'm familiar. I'm just curious where in the world you were. Sometimes you never know where things are taking place. So,
Where are you?
Chicago.
Ah,
A very now cold Chicago of like 38 degrees. So, Halloween turns into winter really quick.
I've spent a couple of Halloweens in Chicago.
There you go. Well, excited to talk to you guys. Ezekiel, good that your name's on the board. I was trying to be like, I cannot call him Isaiah Pacheco because he's a running back for the Kansas City Chiefs. So I was like, do not call him Isaiah at any point.
Yes, sir. Ezekiel.
Yep. Yeah.
Shout out to Isaiah, though. That's a good running back.
There, for sure he is. Seems like you guys are in a good space right now from what I've seen the last of you in the film. There's some tension going on, but
we're doing well. We're all friends now.
There you go. I'm curious. I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking, I wonder what you guys would individually do if you ever were in these situations. Just like one of these questions you have to ask, I feel like watching this movie. Did you guys think about that? If you were ever placed in your character situations, what would you do? I'm going to start with you, Noah.
That was a big part of our rehearsal process, was trying to work as closely to the bone as possible and be as honest in these performances as possible. And I think that I would be tempted to do something very similar. I don't think I would feel good about turning people that I knew over to ICE for deportation and processing. I would do everything I could to protect them from that, which, but then when it gets closer to being you're at risk for aiding and abetting and all those other things, it becomes a really interesting moral quandary. But I do believe I'd probably do the same thing.
Interesting. What about you, Ezekiel?
I don't know. There's a lot of I don't know. I'd probably do something similar, but towards the end, I wouldn't just get on. Towards the end, I would just if it was my life, I would go to. I grew up an ice cream man with my parents, so we would go selling ice cream. And my dad had a lot of immigrants come to our house, and they would live in this big old garage that we had. So I'd probably do something like that. Yeah, I don't know. So try to survive and figure it out.
So you had some real life kind of it hit close to home in a way, right?
Yeah, I'm an immigrant. I was born in Mexico, and I was brought here when I was 1. So I'm under the DACA program. So without DACA, I wouldn't be able to have the opportunities I have today. So
wow. See, that's really interesting that you end up later on in life in a film that kind of comes full circle in some way. Wow, that's amazing in that context. Did you guys, when you got the script originally, did you think this could have been a horror or was going that way? Because there's so many elements of teasing of what's going on. Are these people insane or psychotic that they're trapping? I felt like there could be an element of Saw in here eventually. I was wondering if you guys, when you were reading it, you kind of had an idea or you were curious along the script the first time you got to it, where this is going to go.
It was a real page turner. It was exactly that. You kind of, where's this going? Who is this guy? Where are these people coming from? Is this really going to go where I think it's going to go? Those are when you're reading a script and you're asking yourself those questions and you can't wait to turn the page to find out where it's going and what's motivating these characters, that's always a good indicator that it's a good piece. And the fact that this was all written by Augustus Bernstein, his first script, his first movie directorially, he made the film for under $1 million. He assembled this incredible cast. The whole thing is really quite an achievement. And he found this young talent in Ezekiel Pacheco that we're all going to be hearing lots from in the future.
No question.
As strong of a debut performance as I've ever seen in a film.
It really was. I couldn't believe. I went onto your IMDb. I'm like, there's no way this guy's been doing this for a few years, you know? And he got a few credits. I'm like, I don't know how this happened, but this is good scouting here by Augustus finding you, and especially hearing your story too. It just makes complete sense you'd be in this role in every way too. But yeah, what about your take on it, Ezekiel? Like when you were reading the script, you kind of have an idea where this is going, or you were completely off base initially?
I got the audition and they sent me the script, and I was working at Amazon at the time. So I was like, I'm gonna get this, man. I need to get this. And I was
nice.
I needed this. This is meant for me. And I was dropping off a package, and then I got the email, and I like screamed like crazy. People were looking at me like I was a maniac, but I was super excited to get the movie. And the script was amazing. Aside from like the horror elements, to me it was just like a very heartfelt movie, like almost like a drama. Yeah, very grounded film where you see a lot of the story from the mom and the son, and it's almost like a love letter to all the parents out there that have worked so hard to give their to give their kids a better life. And you see that throughout this movie.
That's really well said, actually. I felt that too throughout. And well, I guess someone's doing packages now besides you. So, you know, at least you delivered what you had to deliver, and now you're delivering good performances. So
that's right.
And finally, you know, I'm going to wrap it up by asking both of you, what is something you guys took away, like, you know, going forward from a film like this? Is there something that stays with you moving on in your personal lives and maybe even in your career from this experience?
Well, there was a few moments, you know, where I was sitting on the set and realizing that I was the oldest guy there by like 15 years and was wearing most of my own clothes. And, you know, these projects are tough to do because they don't afford a lot of amenities and comforts. You go in and you do the work and then you go home. And I look at these kinds of things as like the gym. You go to the gym to stay strong and to keep fit and to keep challenging yourself. And so the validation for me is in how well this turned out, and it validates taking the risk to put yourself in something that is outside your comfort zone just for the sheer joy of doing it. And then if it turns out great, that validates that it's occasionally a good practice.
That's well said. How about you, Ezekiel? What's your long-lasting takeaway?
Honestly, and throughout the whole movie, you see a young man go through a lot of adversity and learning that his mind has to be stronger in his feelings. But for myself, honestly, knowing that God was right the entire time, and I've been very grateful for all the adversity I've been through in my life, and I've been envisioning this for so long now that I was going to be a leading man in Hollywood, and you're going to see me for a long time. I'm going to be one of the best ever.
Hey, you're on your track. If Noah gives you endorsement, you're doing well then, for sure. He's been around and seen it all. So awesome job, guys. Really, it was a really interesting film and a character study of and a reflective of today's world too in so many ways. So awesome work. Excited to see both of you again and hopefully together in another project.
Thanks,
Thank
Jim.
you, Jim. God bless you.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate it.